Okay, welcome to the press conference for day 9 of the Sub-Junior Junior World Championships in Romania. First up today, we've got the 83-kilo junior, Alex Sidor. First of all, Alex, congratulations on your performance today and coming to these World Championships. The first thing I just want to ask is, how did squats go for you? Because you were really feeling amazing, it looked like, during squats. You put up a big squat. Was it a PR?
Yeah.
And so, just tell us a little bit about how squats were feeling today and how the day started off for you there.
Yeah, absolutely. First off, I apologize if I'm talking, like my mouth is just filled with from spitting. So it's like really sucked in. So if I talk like kind of weird, but it actually feels better now. But yeah, squats went really good. Hit a 10-kilo meet PR, which was amazing. And yeah, I mean, squats ended with 277 on the prep and felt really good overall. And then yeah, on the platform just was cruising, took 255 opener, smoked it, and it was just super confident and with my flow the entire day. And then I took 270 for a second, smoked it, and we went up to 282 and a half kilos. And it was one of those attempts where I was placed, the risk to reward ratio was there. And I had, like, in my personal opinion, 60 to 70% chance of getting it, and that's where we took the risk of, going 282 and a half instead of 277 and a half or 280, and definitely paid off in the long run.
What do you think you did during this prep? I mean, usually when you have a weight cut, like how your day started off, squat is impacted by that because you haven't really recomped in time. But so I'm only guessing that your squat would be even bigger if you didn't have that. What did you do during prep to get your squat to go off like this?
I think I just found my groove and my technique. Really focused on just finding my old technique. Back in, last year, it was kind of off at PA Nationals, and I kind of just found my technique, stuck with it, and yeah. Okay. Yeah, just found my technique, really, and started just dialing in that.
Alex, you handle yourself like a seasoned veteran. I was wondering, what did you take away from Worlds last year? What did you take to your training and leading up to Nationals and then ultimately leading up to Worlds?
Yeah. I would say just lifting always to comp standard and just making sure that comp standard is never a problem in the competition. All my squats are always deep in the competition, in prep, always lift to that standard. And then when the new bench rules got announced this year, I had to adjust to that because last year, if I had the same bench, it wouldn't have counted. So I had to adjust to that, to making sure we're just, lifting to comp standard. And then now, just for deadlifts, I didn't have a problem with grip last year. It was strength on my last pull. Then this year, I started having a problem with grip, which is now we have to work on that going forward.
Also, for this competition, it took about an hour to make weight. Was that expected or a little unexpected? And how did you kind of handle that being the morning game day?
Yeah, I mean, it took a little bit longer than an hour. I woke up at like 3 a.m. and started spitting and running around. I was like downstairs in the gym, running around, sweating, spitting, and yeah, it was pretty stressful. That wasn't surprisingly my biggest cut. I had my biggest cut was Junior Nationals in 2022, Powerlifting America, and I cut from 187.4 in the morning, which was insane. I spit out all that weight, but it was more stressful in a foreign country because you don't have access to the things that you have access back at home. But we made weight, really had to do what we had to do, and just did it.
You said you were at 187 at PA Nats in Orlando.
187.4. Yeah.
What's that?
187.4, yeah.
And then what were you today?
186.
186. It was noticeable. Like I remember at PA Nats in Austin this year. I mean, you just kind of looked smaller than you did at PA Nats in Orlando. And then today, like right when I walked in, I just noticed like you just looked like the big Alex again, like, you know, and you looked like you were back up to full form. What happened in between, and like, just kind of give us like a little bit of the trajectory of like where your body weight has been like since Orlando through till now. Like, was there a decline in size around PA Nats in Austin?
Yeah. So around after that big cut in Orlando, I started leaning down for Worlds and was sitting around 83.5 kilos, 84 kilos. So the cut was easy going into Turkey. And then for PA Nationals, I was also sick that day, but just same thing. Was really light, was around 187, and the cut wasn't extremely hard from that weight. And then same thing for Powerlifting America Junior Nationals this past year in Scottsdale, was sitting at a good body weight, and it was an easy cut. I just felt, but I did feel bigger and stronger because I bulked up after that to like 190, 191, and then finally cut from 190. I did feel bigger and stronger. It just, the cut was a little bit too, I mean, it ended up working, but it was just a little bit too much this time, but it works. It worked.
So this cut was very different. So this cut was very different than any other cut that you've done. What decisions the morning of did we decide to make in order to make weight for you?
Yeah, so it's kind of funny that I did this competition because I remember saying this to myself back in 2019 that if I ever needed to make weight, I would have to shave my head, and yep. Finally shaved my head. It's so funny because I've talked to my friends. I've said this back like 4 or 5 years ago before I even made the World's team in 2022. If I had to do or die situation, shave my head and make weight by any means necessary, I would do it, and I did it today.
and what did you weigh in at today?
83 on the dot. Yeah.
So you needed that.
I needed it. It did lose a little bit the hair.
I think it's a good look, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think you looked mean in there. There was a couple other dudes with shaved head. I was like, this looks like a pretty mean crew.
Yeah. They liked it. They were complimenting me.
I think it looks good. I think you should rock it. I know that one of the guys that you sometimes train with is Dan Griggs, and it kind of gives me a little bit of that Dan Griggs vibe. So maybe it'll ultimately help your deadlift in the long run. So you can just. So all this talk about cutting. What's next? I mean, I know you mentioned before. I think you did a press conference either in Austin or in Scottsdale. I can't remember which one. And you mentioned that, you know, at some point you're going to have to go up to 93.
Yeah.
When do you think that's going to be?
I'm not too sure. I think for my next competition, I probably will go up to 93, if not a full 93. Just to get overall stronger and not worry about cutting too much. Now I know exactly like what body weight to sit at before I do cut from 83, like to make it reasonable. I think 188 is like the perfect starting weight, and then cut, like, you know, water cut and all of that. Because I started at 190, got down to 186, and then started my morning at 186. But yeah, I would like to, you know, test the waters at 93, see what I can do at 93, and yeah, I don't know for sure right now, but definitely 93 within the next year or so.
Okay, and I know because you have still 2 more years as a junior, is that right?
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, you're very competitive in the 83s.
Yeah.
So it's got to be tempting to stay there, but I mean, 93 is there as well. So we never really finished off with what happened the rest of the day. You talked about squat, like take us through bench and deadlift.
Yep. So bench went, you know, not too bad. I mean, I hit a 5 kilo. Well, from nationals, I hit a 5 kilo meet PR. Overall, it was a tied PR with, but also I can also call it a PR because it was to the new standards. I hit 157.5 probably 2 years ago, to, you know, extreme arching. But now with elbow depth, that's a PR. And then that was my second, and then 162.5. I thought I could grind it, and it felt like it could have been there. I just felt like I was held down on the press command a little bit longer. And I don't know, I just got the press commands pretty quicker on the first and second. That on the third, I thought I was going to be good to go for 162.5 and get a nice grind because my bench is either I can grind a little bit, or there's no grind at all. And yeah, it was just one of those days where it was a little bit too much on the day. Hindsight, should have taken 160, but it is what it is, and we'll definitely keep increasing our bench in the future and just get overall just stronger.
And then go ahead and tell us what happened on deadlift as well.
Yeah, so for deadlifts, I was feeling pretty confident going to the meet with pulling 310 in training. And it was, held up with the grip, pulled it on like the same, calibrated plates, Alico bar, everything like that. And then when I came into the meet, 265 last warm up, moved well. And then I took 287.5 for opener. And it just, it moved, but it just didn't, feel like secure in my hands. And again, hindsight is 2020, shoulda, woulda, coulda. Maybe jump 10, maybe jumped only 12.5 to secure that, because I didn't know how many people were going to start missing after me. Because if I took, a 10 kilo jump to 297.5, got that, I would have came in 4th instead of 9th. But yeah, I mean, it just, just things to work on in the future. And then I ended up failing 302.5 on my second attempt. I just grip. And then also I feel like I rushed that one a lot. And then my third attempt, I tried to do this other method where I grab the bar and just really just give it a few yanks and, hip hike, and then finally just do that last hip hike and, finally secure my hands into the bar. And it was holding up for a bit, and then I just wasn't strong enough on the day and lost positioning and balance in a little bit. So.
Do you attribute any of that to sort of running out of gas after such a serious cut? Do you think that had any effect, or is it just purely a grip strength issue?
I personally think it's a grip strength issue. I think I felt really strong. I always feel really strong on meet day for deadlifts, and if my grip holds up, I feel like I could pull a lot of weight. It's just always usually the grip has been the problem, and just like the nerves going into how my grip holds up, and just me thinking about, is it going to hold up? I was nervous for my opener. After 265, I was already nervous for my opener, and I was like, should we lower it? But I was like, I really just want to get my opener, and then after that, take what's there. And yeah, I just have to, just make it better in training. It's just hard to know what you're going to have on the platform, because you just never know, whether it's like the bar is not good or the chalk's not good in the back. I brought my own chalk, but you just never know what's going to happen. So I just have to just train it harder, make it just undeniable in training, and just be better.
You were talking about your attempt selection on the second, and you were mentioning that if you had taken a less of a jump and gotten it, you could have finished in 4th. What went into that decision to take the attempts that you ultimately did?
Because if I took 302.5 and then took a planned third, I could have, if I took 302.5 and then I took a, 310 to 312, which is what I wanted to do if, everything held up, it would have definitely been 4th, and it would have potentially been 3rd place. So, yeah, that was the plan, because I didn't think a lot of people were going to start missing attempts. A lot of people miss seconds and thirds. A lot of people miss their third attempts. So just, I just didn't expect all that happening. The judging was very strict. It gets more strict every single year, as you see. Back from Malta, very strict there, and then here is just very strict. So, yeah.
So we have a question in the chat that says, "Is that a carton of milk on the table?"
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Okay, good to know.
Yes, it is. It's helping my mouth.
Perfect. Let's see. Where was I going to go next? Coming into this, what was your goal as far as where you wanted to place? Like we mentioned before, you have 2 years left as a junior. And obviously, you're competitive enough, like you mentioned, like you could have finished 4th or 3rd, depending on how deadlifts would have went. Left a little bit out there on bench as well. What was the goal? And then are you happy with how the performance ended up?
The goal was to come top 3. That was like the honest and true goal, like to place top 3. And I mean, just with how everything went and the circumstances, I wasn't too mad about like whether it was 9th or 6th or 4th. There was such a small gap between 9th and 5th or 9th and 4th. It was I totaled 727, and then 4th totaled 732.5. So it was just such a small gap that it didn't really matter that much. I was just thinking like, oh, if I just pulled 10 more, then it would have been 4th place. But yeah, I mean, it was it is what it is. It would have been nice to place top 3. And then the one thing that was nice that came out of it was I finally got my first like medal, so I got a squat medal. It was tied. It was I lost on body weight, but I got the silver in squat. Me and Turkey both squatted 282.5. So that was cool getting my first squat medal.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
That's huge. This is your second time at the World Championships, and I just wonder what does it mean to you to get back here? I mean, there's not a lot of people that get to go represent their country on a huge stage like this at a truly international competition. You've now done it twice. Obviously, it looks like you're going to have a bright future being able to come back again. What does it mean to be here on this huge platform?
Yeah, I mean, it means everything. I mean, this has been my dream like since I was 16 years old. Just compete for America on the world stage and just keep chipping away every single year until we eventually win a world title. And that's just been the goal. But yeah, it's just, a blessed opportunity and to just keep coming back here every single year and just compete at this stage and at this high level of competition.
So Alex, after last year's Worlds, it was kind of evident, it kind of lit a fire in you to, to just get back to training, get better, and get back to Worlds and have a great performance. Obviously it's still pretty early from when you actually competed, but what's kind of your thoughts going into next year? I mean, have you set the goals already?
I have not thought about that, but yeah, I mean, next year I just want to come back and just try to win. That's really it. Just try to solidify and finally get hopefully at least a podium. But always shooting for the stars. So hopefully coming for a world title.
Yeah, the third time will be the charm, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
In the 83s, you're already making great progress. You got the squat tied basically for the gold medal, loss on body weight, which that'll end up being a great story with how you had to shave your head and everything and come up with this new signature look, I think, that you're going to keep rocking for the future. But yeah, Alex, I just think we're really proud of the performance that you put up there today and the way that you handled everything, the adversity that you faced.
Thank you.
And the future is super bright. So just want to say congratulations once again on your amazing performance. And we look forward to seeing you again on this stage next year.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much.
Did you place higher than me?
I think so.
I don't even know. I didn't even look.
What was your total?
765.
Yeah.
Get closer to the mics. We're live, by the way.
Hello.
I don't know if that's a good. That explains everything that just happened. That conversation.
Does that not have a recording light?
Yeah, no, there's not a recording light. No,
okay.
there's not a recording light. Yeah, that thing is just very wobbly, so you're just gonna have to. Perfect. All right, so next up, we've got the 93 kilo boys, Peyton Johnson and Shane Nutt in the house. First of all, we love you both. Congratulations on your performances today. No matter what, you'll always be our champions in our hearts.
Thank you.
First things first, want to talk with Peyton. This was your first World Championships.
Correct.
And just, how was the experience? Give us just right off the top, like, how are you feeling right now?
Tired. It's so late right now. Like, I knew I was going to be waiting all day for this competition because we were competing at 5, and I didn't think I would be doing this at 11, like 12 o'clock. But overall, it was really cool. Not like any other competition that I've competed in. Everything seemed to be more of a blur when I went up there, because usually, like, I don't remember anything when I'm up on the platform, but like that was just amplified for this meet.
You just kind of came across as a blur.
Yeah, when I went up on the platform, I like completely blanked out. But
You did pretty damn good considering you were blanked out.
Yeah. Never mind.
Go ahead, Shane. What are you gonna say?
I don't know. Well, I'll just let him talk. I don't want to.
It's okay. It's the friendly banter back and forth is what
It's
we're
okay.
looking. That's
I'm
what
out
we're
of
looking for.
words.
It's okay.
Continue.
I mean, we just stayed in bed all day, man. It was rough. We just snuggled in bed all day.
Yeah, I mean, you're a great little spoon.
Okay.
It made things a lot better.
So we were both heavy. Like, what did we both weigh? Like, you weighed like 220, I weighed like 215.
I was at 97.
I was at
97
96
kilos.
and a half, and somehow
Yeah.
on day 2 he weighed less than I did, and I was like, what? And then, maybe it's because I had lunch, a big lunch. I had like duck and french fries. And I probably should, I don't know. That wasn't the problem. The problem was me going heavy into this meet, because every single 93 meet that I've ever done, as you know, I've like weighed in light, and that was without cutting. And I cut for this meet, and I totaled less than I have in almost 3 years. So,
Shane, how are you feeling?
absolutely terrible. Yeah, but I'm still proud, because it was a battle to get here. I'm always about managing expectations, and I always tell my athletes that too. But like, life's gone really fast between going from nationals and getting married in July. Like, some of the greatest parts of my life are right now, and I think powerlifting, just kind of took the back burner mentally, and it's never been the same as it was in a while, and it's just taking some adjusting to get to. And I didn't deserve the win today, obviously. The people that were on the podium did, because they ultimately sacrificed the most, and I could tell, because everyone had a bad day, but they still came out and did the best they could. So did I, but it just was not. I did not put enough work in. So
Yeah, and Peyton, what was it like having Shane like kind of here this whole time? Like, you weren't just out here by yourself as the only 93 kilo guy. You had someone who had been to the World Championships, competed internationally before, is kind of like an OG veteran of the game. What was it like having him kind of in your corner this whole week?
It was very much a blessing. He's very knowledgeable about competing, and especially competing internationally, which I'm very inexperienced with. But yeah, I wasn't expecting to get as close as we have.
I purposely try to make you as comfortable as possible.
Well, I really appreciate it.
Because I know how like nerve-wracking it is. My first international meet was in 2019. I remember, like you said, walking out there and like things just like you get the wiggles in the legs. You walk out of squat and you're like, I think I'm gonna just fall over, right? right? So, like, I wanted to make you as comfortable as possible because, I mean, like, all is fair at the end of the day, you know? I got to be the best teammate I can, you know? If you put in the work and you're going to be as strong as possible, at the end of the day, you were going to win or place, you know? I wanted you to place really high. I wanted both of us to place really high. And I didn't want it to be, you know, what it was at Nationals. Because at Nationals, that's just you and me. You know, that's more personal. But like, for us, it's like,
now it's against
you know,
other countries.
I got, you know, Team USA, I gotta help you, man.
Yeah.
You know, by keeping it fair too. So.
Well, it was really nice. I completely forgot what I was gonna say.
It's all right.
He's just shocked by my kindness.
It's been a hella long day.
No, well, okay. I got it. Yeah, a lot of people want to see like these rivalries, and like
Yeah,
they
we
want
talked about that.
they want to see beef in between us, but at the end of the day, it's such an individual sport. Like I mean, what is beef gonna do? Sure, it's gonna hype up the competition, but
I've just never gotten behind it because if you aren't in your own lane, man, you know, if you're constantly trying to stir the pot, and I'm like,
it's just kind of goofy to me.
Yeah.
I could never do that. I can't do that.
yeah. I've learned at the end of the day, it's like no matter what you do, I mean, nothing matters until you hit that platform. You can get in people's heads. I've done it before, but you know, the world's is a different breed. So I mean, you can only do so much. Yeah. Because the bar's set so high, and you only have so much playroom. But
I didn't really see anybody doing crazy stuff in the warm-up room.
No, I mean
Someone took our
I
collar.
believe. Take this. I don't know if this is absolutely track. If I can remember, if memory serves right, this year's total, everyone had the potential to do 835 to 845, and the winning total was 810 by Gaveyo. Excuse me if I'm saying that wrong. And then last year, I think the winning total was 812 by the Swedish Yulong.
Yeah, there was 4 lifters that totaled over 800, 810, 808, 802.5, and 802.5. So 4 lifters over 800. And like you said, there was projecting coming into this that there were probably like 7 or 8 that would have been over 800.
Yeah, like I was personally expecting both of us, because I know on a good day, like at Nationals, if I didn't fool you, dude, you could have pulled 770.
Yeah, that
You
was
failed.
the plan.
You failed. What was your last pull?
804, so it was 36.
No, I'm sorry. Today.
It was the last one that I failed.
Yeah.
352.5.
Yeah. So you failed that at the same exertion you failed 804. That's how weak you got. How weak we got too. So, but at Nationals, I'm serious. So like at Nationals, if I hadn't fooled you out of because that's just what I do. Thanks, Tim Anderson. You would have beat me. So, and I told you when we got here, I was like, dude, I know talent when I see it. You're really strong, dude. So on a good day, like you would put up a really good fight against everyone here. Like really good.
Prep definitely didn't go the way that I wanted it to. I had life events just like you. Yeah. And
Tell us about it. Tell us about it, Peyton.
Inevitable.
Give us some detail.
So for most of y'all probably don't know me because I'm not a big social media guru, but 400 strong.
You only have 400?
Hell yeah.
I'm going to give you a shout out. I'll give you a shout out. You'll at least have 1,000.
Well, so I'm in the Army National Guard, the Nevada Army National Guard, and during my prep, I had to go train for a month to get a new job, but I was basically at a reserve base that had a little barracks gym, and I just kind of had to work with what I had. It was very disheartening using that equipment because I went from being at American Iron where I'm spoiled with all the calibrated plates, stiff bars,
specific as possible.
whatever accessory I want.
Yeah. I hear you.
And going to just like bendy ass bars and bumper plates.
Yeah.
It was
no knurling. Have to
Yeah.
use straps probably once or twice.
Oh yeah, they don't allow chalk, but
You're in the
you got to
National
do what
Guard?
you can. Yeah, but I work full time.
You think the Marine Corps allows
Full-time.
chalk?
Definitely, definitely. So
I make
Army,
myself laugh. I'm sorry.
please allow chalk.
Army? Yeah.
We can do better than that.
It's the National Guard's fault.
I didn't say that.
Yeah, I mean, look
didn't say
at his hand. Look at his hand.
Yeah.
It's because
It
he's using
made my
straps
hands
all
soft.
prep.
That month made my hands soft. So I got a couple
Got
holes
soft
in them now.
hands, brother.
Yeah.
So I first want to start with a comment. Actually, just a couple comments. You know, it's been a privilege to work with both of you today. Y'all are great representatives of yourselves, your families, our federation, and also your country. Peyton, this question is for you. Obviously, thank you for your service. But with that, there was something that called you to serve in the National Guard. What does it mean to you, you know, to also be able to represent your country athletically at the World Championships?
It feels absolutely unreal. It's still kind of all a blur, and I can't. If I would have told myself 12 months ago that I would be right here, like I wouldn't believe it. So, I mean, I'm very grateful for where I am and the opportunity that I've had to compete here and to serve. I mean, it's always kind of something that I wanted to do. I kind of knew that I would end up there, but
Did you have any? I know you said you. We talked about how you like. He was one of those people that never thought he was good enough to compete, but then he's like, like so strong. I was like, this is ridiculous. But anyway, who kind of guided you? Was it yourself? I know you've been in, watching a lot of social media, and that's a really easy way to get into the sport nowadays. But did you have anybody that kind of pushed you, be like, hey, because like when I was younger, someone kind of nudged me and be like, you're really good at this. Let's go compete at the top level. Was there anyone that pushed you like that?
I mean, eventually, Tammy from my gym, she told me, hey, like, your numbers are pretty up there. Maybe you should
Consider.
compete.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then she's like, who's coaching you? And I'm like, me.
Me.
I'm just doing my thing. But no, she really took me under her wing, and as well as Bob. They're both just great. I'm very grateful for you guys. You're like my
Gym parents.
separate, yeah, my separate set of parents. My adopted family is just, but yeah, never thought I was good enough because I would look at the top level, because that's what's tossed around on social media, and you're like, oh, well, in my mind, I'm like, I have to be at that level in order to be competitive. And I'm like,
Yeah.
if I'm not there, then I'm just gonna keep going.
Yeah. But today was kind of like, now you picked up like, this is a whole different world, bro.
Yeah.
It's a whole different world of competing.
Yeah.
And it really shines a light on like seeing those people, the top people, what it takes to get there. Because I mean, judging at the very least is just one of the barriers you gotta jump.
Yeah.
So, and you see those open people. It's like, imagine how much of their life they put into lifting to be at the open podium. Like, that's insane. So,
That's where we're gonna try to be, right? I know you said you might take a break.
yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. All right.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say?
So my next comment and question, I think both of y'all represent what's great about powerlifting and what really draws me to this sport. You can be super competitive and you can want to win everything and want to break every record, but at the same time, you can still have immense respect for your opponent, and also want to see them succeed, and there's also nothing wrong with wanting them to succeed, but wanting to beat them at the same time. Shane, this next question is for you. Being a veteran of powerlifting for 10 plus years,
Going on almost, yeah.
you know, you've been to countless national meets, numerous international meets. You've kind of faced every little situation, scenario possible. You've had ups and downs. You've had good meets, bad meets. How does this meet, and kind of what's your feelings with this meet, and just how it kind of rounds out, for lack of a better term, your younger career as you age into the open division?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. How does this meet sit with me? You know, my brother made a video last night, and it was amazing, and I was highlighting all my ups and downs, just kind of like what you talked about. Lots of downs, but the ups were amazing. Through, most of it was through Midland University and stuff, and life changes, and like if you want to be the best at anything, you got to put a large amount of your life towards it. Whether that be tennis or swimming or whatever, it doesn't matter, and I feel like I said, it sits with me well, because to be in this sport for a long time, you got to endure the lows, and you got to manage your expectations. And my expectations was, to at least total what I did at nationals, or at least more than last Worlds. And I trained my butt off all year long, and then once it really got towards the busy season for me after our meet, things got really hard, and I am accepting the fact that I am like, as far as like how much mentally and physically I put into powerlifting right now, like I completely accept the fact that this is a result of that. The fact that I've sacrificed a lot of, I'm letting the other part of the lawn, the grass grow on the other side of the lawn in my life. I'm really trying to, I've started a family and really trying to push my job, like, being a full-time coach, and just I'm managing that expectation. So I'm not in any way, I'm bitter about it, because I thought I would at least be a little bit, like at least matching. But there was some very, very important things that I did not think about that affected my performance today. And then, that made all the difference. And that goes to show that just one or two little things can make you go from potentially totaling 8+ to totaling the smallest total you have in a long time. So.
Now, I know you mentioned you might want to take a little bit of a break as you age into the open division. And that's perfectly understandable. I think you have a great head on your shoulders. And obviously I can tell you're disappointed with your performance, but you seem to have a great attitude, and you seem to keep in perspective all the things that powerlifting has given you, from being able to go to college for powerlifting, met your wife, and then also met some great friends, and
Absolutely.
Been able to travel
The world,
to
everywhere.
many places that you probably wouldn't
Never.
have ever even consider of going to.
Nope.
Maybe if you could just kind of reflect on some of that, some of the stuff that you don't really think about.
Yeah.
Like when you're actually a
Absolutely.
competitor focused on the next competition.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, as far as like the break thing goes, I just needed some time. I've been powerlifting has been my everything. I remember when I was 16, 17, that's all I did. I'd wake up and I'm like, this is my meal. This is what I weighed. It would be insanely obsessive, because like at that age, that's the only thing you have to worry about. But, now it's not like that, and that's okay. But just powerlifting is given me everything. It's wrapped around my identity. I will probably never split from it, but I need to sit back and assess everything, my values in my life, and try to figure out a time where I can put powerlifting back on top. And there will be a time. It's just right now, like, my life is so, like, my life events have been so unique and things that I would never even thought of. And I'm just proud of myself, I think. And I've given myself a lot of opportunities. And when it's, time for me to put the gas or the pedal, foot down on the pedal again, it's just, I know that I'll be able to succeed as much as I want to. But yeah, I'm not quitting or anything. I'm not retiring.
Yeah.
With, the top open people being, I know Gavin's kind of an outlier, but, the reigning champ, he's like, I think he just turned 30 something or 30 years old, right?
He's been in the game for a long time.
Right.
In the open.
Yeah. And that gives me a lot of insight into what I could possibly do. And whether I'm in the 93s or, weight class above, there will be a time where I'm going to just, this is all I'm going to put everything I can into it. But the past, year has been rough. So, and this is just like a splash in the pan of my entire career. So.
Well, it's a really great attitude to have and a great perspective that you have. I think it's something that a lot of young lifters can really look up to, because obviously if anyone would have extremely high expectations for themselves, it's you, and for you to be able to put it in perspective and realize that maybe it's not there at this time in your life, but you're still one of the best in the world and can still come out here and represent your country and mentor along some of the newer lifters in the game and be a good role model for all of the super young lifters that are here. It's bigger than just your own self and your own performance. So we really appreciate that in you, Shane.
I appreciate that too. And yeah, that's something that weighs heavy on my mind too, is me being a powerlifting coach and, trying to keep people in this sport for longer than 2-3 years, because a lot of these kids will go and win sub juniors and then they notice that their total's not anything compared to a junior, and I'm like, no, just keep going. It's okay. And just showing them the realistic expectations once you get out of that sub junior and even junior division. Like, your life flips, unless you're a full-time powerlifter all the time. It's gonna be really hard to stick with it if you don't manage your expectations. So
Peyton, this was your fourth meet. And I believe you've done basically two local meets, nationals, and then now the world championships. And
Correct.
Sitting next to Shane, hearing him talk about, this really long career and everything, and now coming to these world championships and seeing the best in the world. And you started in the position, like Shane had mentioned before, of thinking that you weren't strong enough to compete. And now you've just finished 6th in the world in your 4th competition. You obviously are some kind of genetic freak. In addition to being an extremely hard worker and having good coaches, how inspired are you going forward? And just kind of listening to what Shane was just saying about how much time and dedication is required to be at the top level, is that something that this, finishing as strong as you did has fueled a fire for you to want to do in the future?
Definitely. It's very inspiring to see your consistency, right? So you've been able to make it here year after year after year. Like, that says something to your consistency. And I always hear, it's not about constantly trying to bust PRs and break new totals, but prevent yourself from being injured and stopping yourself from training. And that's one of the biggest things that I'm trying to keep in mind. I had a big scare actually before I came here, deadlifting, felt something tweak in my back, and then I thought, man, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to lift come competition time, and that freaked me out, and it kind of was a little bit of a wake-up call, because I'm constantly trying to push that limit, but I have to also learn when to pull back, and that's something that I've struggled with being newer into powerlifting, only having competed 4 times. But yeah, it's really cool to see, you know, where he came from and how he consistently just is able to do it and hasn't been really injured, at least not from my knowledge.
Oh, he's been injured.
I've been injured,
He's been
brother.
hella.
My back was tweaked last week, bro. Seriously.
Not to mention the broken leg and, you know, all the other things that Shane has gone through. But Peyton, more than that, just hearing him talk about like the dedication that it takes to be at a super high level and seeing that you're already like very close to that. Like you're obviously at a really high level. You just finished 6th in the world. But to get to the number 1 spot, do you see now that like it's right there within grasp if you can just, you know, like be patient, be smart in your training, things like that, dedicate 100% of your life to it, like Shane was talking about? Is that something that you want to do now?
Oh yeah, I lost track when I went off, but yeah, I'm like Shane. It's kind of been a part of my identity, which probably isn't a great thing. I'm trying to shift that a little bit, just for a longevity purpose, you know. But definitely, powerlifting is what I enjoy. It makes me feel good. I love it, and I'm not stopping.
That's awesome.
I'm coming.
All right. Let the open 93s be on notice. I want to get back to like some X's and O's types questions from the competition today. We were just talking a little bit about like the totals. There were 6 lifters nominated with an 800 total or higher, and there were 4 lifters finished with an 800 total or higher. The top couple were nominated 830, 818, 815, and today 810, 808, 802, 802. What do you think it was out here today that the 93s were nominated with much higher totals than what ended up finishing with? And it wasn't like it was just to kind of put this in perspective, it wasn't just you guys. It was like everyone across the board finished with a substantially lower total than they were nominated with. What do you attribute that to? And Peyton, let's start with him, because I know that Shane will probably have like, you know, a more, yeah, exactly. He has a little more perspective. So I'm curious what you think, you know, given that this was like your first time here at this
Hey, but
Worlds
if you
level.
agree with me, say something.
And then we'll let Shane go on.
I was just going to say, from my perspective, it was just a crazy phenomenon, because everybody that we talked to, they're like, yeah, I had the worst prep of my life. And we're like, oh, same. It's kind of weird that everybody seemed to have had a crappy prep, which they could just be saying that just to help their ego a little bit, but
yeah, I don't think it coincidentally that everyone just had bad preps. Like uniformly, it seems like the totals were lower.
Yeah. A lot of people were missing lifts. Some of the judge calls are a lot stricter, I feel like, than the other competitions, which, I mean, at the world level, it should be, I feel like.
You know what I think from a coaching perspective, and I think I see a lot of people make this mistake, is they go to nationals and they weigh that. You know, a lot of these guys are already the best. They maybe have 1 or 2 people that are within 25, 30 kilos. So they go in and they, you know, they're like, all right, I'm going to push. This is a stepping stone to get into Worlds. I think once they get into Worlds, whether they have a coach or not, I feel like, you'll see a lot of people getting injured going into Worlds just because they're pushing themselves so much. And even if you have a coach in a program, you can still do that. And I think a lot of people burn themselves out, overtrain, and go into Worlds. And I think that's why we're seeing this trend. And like, I've talked to some lifters, and I know that they've been pushing because they know that like they see like these big totals that were just happening, and they're like, man, you know, and they're comparing it to what they have. And I think that is a conflict. And then the other things are the chalk was terrible. Everyone agreed on that. IPF needs to fix that. Shouldn't be using baby powder for chalk.
Well, if not, I think let's leave the bad chalk, but let's bring good chalk for Powerlifting America. That'll give us a competitive advantage, right?
Yeah.
Man, our
What
warm-up
else?
platform.
That
was-
okay. That's just being picky, but yeah, we made
That was absurd.
Yeah, we did, you know.
It was like a playground
we fixed-
slide,
it's
plastic
okay.
slide on the
Yeah.
bottom.
But you know, all Laco stuff, like, you know, that's awesome. But yeah, that, you know, if you're being picky, but yeah, the chalk. It's like, how many people failed on grip today?
There was a ton of
Probably
we saw in the first flight.
50% of the top 10.
There's a sea of red on the third deadlifts.
Yeah,
Like
to
damn near
grip,
every person.
specifically to grip. You know, I failed my second. I thought I was gonna smoke it. I put on chalk, like my own chalk, and I could hold it for my third. I was like, oh, I got this, but my body just gave up. The calls were rough, and that's just the game of powerlifting. Calls are rough. I'm not gonna say the judges were bad or anything like that, but you know, the calls were rough on everyone today. Very strict, very, very strict. So.
The jury was not overturning lifts
No, I
in the
don't even
favor
think they were,
favor of the lifters almost at all. It seemed
No,
like the
I
jury
think
had
it just went.
very divided.
Yeah. So I don't know anything about that. I don't try to get too into that because it's like, you know, if you lift to the utmost standard and you're the strongest that day, you're gonna win anyway. Everyone's facing that, the same thing. You know, everyone's got the same jury. You know, as long as they're consistent. But yeah, they were very strict. The most strict that I've at any meet I've ever been to, for sure.
Yeah. I know for me, that squat that I grinded out, that hurt to see those reds. I was like, dang, to me.
Same with my
to
bench.
Me, yeah, I was going to ask about your bench because it was like,
cool.
we both felt like we didn't deserve those reds, but we got them.
Yeah, you took them like champs.
But everyone had their fair share of them, you know. So it's like it was all fair in the end. It doesn't matter.
All right, we've got Craig Lemieux from the Wisconsin Reporter here.
Uncle Craig.
Hi, it's me. So, going along with this massive disparity in totals, Peyton, you as a newer lifter, but a Giga Chad, obviously, and then Shane, you as an experienced veteran, what are your opinions on the turnover rate from nationals to worlds? Do you think it should be longer? If so, how long do you think it should be?
6 months.
I can't speak to how long exactly, but longer than what it was.
Because what is a UK? They have their nationals in what, December, February? Yeah, and then they have, you know, yeah, they're good. They got plenty of time. But I'm like, there's a reason why I specifically don't do, like, if you look through the history of me competing, unless it's like a small qualifier meet, it's like 2 meets a year because I can only dedicate so much time of my life to go 100%, and that's just how I work personally. But like 3 months, like that is rough. That sucks. It really does.
Yeah.
You know, 2 weeks of that are spent trying to get out of the detrained phase from nationals, and then from there you're like, all right, where are we at? And you're pretty much just trying to repeat what you did at nationals, and that's what my expectation was. And because I'm like, there's no way you can make a whole lot of progress in 10 weeks. Like that's, if you do, like not at this level, at a beginner level maybe, but.
And I had never experienced that quick of a turnaround. I was used to like prepping for a year or 6 months for my competition because I haven't competed that much, and it definitely kicked my butt with that turnaround. Yeah.
Yeah, from my perspective, it looks like you guys literally fought each other.
We peaked, and then we went.
You guys fought each other to a peak that would have won.
We tried to maintain a little bit.
Then we went to the depths of, man, 765. Are you kidding me? It's embarrassing, but yeah, I hear you. Hey, I missed the super compensation by like 3 months. Like my peak was a long time ago, man.
I failed more squats and deadlifts this prep than I have ever done before, and it sucked. It really affected me mentally coming into this. It was no
You
bueno.
were really pushing it, weren't you?
Yeah, and it wasn't helping.
Yeah.
It wasn't going anywhere.
Exhibit A.
Any other genius questions?
All right, so this is a question for both of you guys. Since you guys do want to become world champions in the future, obviously that's the goal. How would you feel would your life change in any sense of way when you become a world champion?
You go ahead first.
I don't think so, but then again, I'm not there, so I can't say for sure. But I don't feel like winning that title will really affect it much, because at the end of the day, I'm always thinking about it's me versus me. That's why I think the beef with other lifters is just kind of goofy. Like you're competing against yourself at the end of the day. Well, there are other competitors, but if you're constantly improving, if you're thinking about what ways can I get better, I mean, it's a never-ending process, right? Once you get that title, it doesn't just end.
Yeah. I think on an emotional standpoint, 16, 15-year-old Shane would be happy, because I think my number one goal ever since I started, I remember watching, and I mentioned this earlier in the week, I remember watching, IPF World Championships on YouTube and be like, that is so cool. So it is definitely a blessing to be here. And national championships are a blessing to win as well. And but I think what I've learned too from those is I know what it takes to win a national championship in the United States. And once I'm at the top and I get there, I will have that great emotional like wow, I did it, and that's really inspiring for yourself. But you're also gonna know what it takes, because if you don't do more work than that, and everything that you put in to win that meet, the next time you probably won't win the next time. So I think that's what I would learn.
So Peyton, this question is for you. This being your first international competition, I guess maybe describe just some of the things that surprised you, just some of your game day routines. What did you eat? What did you have for breakfast? Stuff like that.
I think I need to plan my meals better, especially for international meets. My stomach was very curdled most of the time. It's just I wasn't ready for the kinds of foods that were going to be here. I did very minimal research going into this. I really should have done more, but I was just kind of winging it. I ate sandwiches most of the time here.
What'd you eat today, like after weigh-ins? Tell me.
PB&Js.
How many?
3.
Dang.
And
Andy had the end caps on them.
I don't mind it. But, PB&Js never done me wrong. Actually, my stomach didn't feel that great during squats. I did feel like I was going to puke a little bit at the beginning, but it went away.
Too much PB&J.
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
You were just talking about your stomach.
Like what other things during the meet did you find like that surprised you or were interesting for your first time, obviously internationally? Like obviously that was a diet thing, so let's try to go into like how was warm up time compared to maybe nationals, or
It was a bit quicker
seeing
than
the other
nationals.
competitors, and
It honestly felt like any other meet to me, but
yeah,
it
this was
like,
honestly the slowest national world meet that I've ever been to,
I mean, it
because
felt
it was so big.
it was fast paced for me compared
Yeah.
to nationals, because I feel like we had a decent amount of time with that. It didn't go too
Yeah.
fast.
Yeah, I can't remember honestly.
But yeah, besides, there was a lot more nerves going out onto the platform, because it does feel like a bigger competition. You know, it's not just nationals, it's worlds now. And that did add to like me just blanking out once I got out there. You know, I tried not to think about that. I didn't make eye contact with anybody. I was just kind of zoned out to the middle of the room. But yeah, other than that, I don't think it was anything too different from my regular meet.
All right. Last question, unless there's any other. Are you raising your hand, Jessica? No. Okay. Last question is just for Shane. I'll just want to just give you the mic to kind of, if there's any final thoughts that you have about being at the World Championships and what it means to you, and just kind of let you have the last word here as like the veteran and as your last year as a junior. Anything else that you want to say? Go ahead.
I just want to thank you guys, everyone here, so much. You know, I've known, for the most part, you know, I think 50% of the room here for like at least 3 years, so maybe 2. But you know, you guys were all a great help. So thank you so much. Like all of you, just support everything. So all the little things matter when you're doing something so big like this. Yeah, obviously, you know, more of a little bittersweet feeling than leaving. This is not how I wanted to leave, but you know, I need something to fight for, I think. I don't want to thank every one of my clients for blowing up my phone during the entirety of the meet. My mom, my stepdad, and you know, my wife, and everybody else that, you know, is in my inner circle. And I don't think I let anyone down, so that's a good feeling, because usually most people are like, man, I let a lot of people down. But I think, you know, putting that out there like makes people realize that you're gonna have a lot of ups and they're gonna be amazing. You're gonna have a lot of downs. Yeah, I just I need this portion of my life to flip over and move on. I think, like I said, I love losing because it gives me something to fight for. Because after losing Worlds last year, I had the time, I had the effort, I had everything in me. I went really like insane. Like, you saw what I was totaling at after traveling all the way to New York, Buffalo, New York, and like after a long day, barely eating. Like, that's because that was a direct result. No matter what happened during that training week, I was all in every single day. So, you know, I'll be back. I'll be hungry for more, and it's just not necessarily a learning phase. I think it's just a phase. I think we'll move forward and we'll do great things, and I think you'll do amazing things. And I'm so proud of him. He's so strong. So
Thank you,
yeah.
sir.
Good job, man.
Same to you. You're
All right, well, guys,
Mr. Consistent.
we're going to end it there. We're really, really proud of both of you for your performances, and I know you inspired a ton of people. And Peyton, you know, being only your 4th meet, it really showed, I think, a lot of people what they can do even early on in their career, and hopefully more people will jump into powerlifting meets, because who knows, after 2 meets, they can end up at nationals and then at Worlds. And Shane, of course, just with all the wisdom and all the knowledge and great experience that you have, sharing that with everyone, being such a generous leader in the sport, we really appreciate you both. And congratulations again on getting here, and we can't wait to see what you do next.
Thank you. If you're watching this and you're considering competing,
Follow
just
his
do
YouTube.
it.
Just do it.
And follow his YouTube.
Yeah, I got like 80 subscribers maybe.